Hi, and welcome to episode 295 of the Mighty Whites podcast. I'm Jack, as always, joined by KC.
Hello.
How's things, mate?
Yeah, good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, all good. To be honest, with a day after a Boxing Day where everything was good with family, Christmas was good, Scum got beat, Leeds won. So, yeah, I'm in a pretty good mood.
It's all coming together.
Yeah, it's all coming up Millhouse. Leeds won 2-0 away at Stoke to go top of the league.
Well, that's that sorted.
Are you going to repeat your brave comments from the pub?
Yeah, we've basically won it now. That's it. Sorted. Once you've got past Headbanger Mosh and Stoke City, what have you got left?
Yeah. Well, Crash Holly, I believe.
Well,
is the other one. But no, Leeds. There was a little bit of team news. Strout came back in after his fitness issue. Ampadu went into midfield and Tanaka dropped onto the bench. Farker did come out and say that was mainly just like rotation fitness. He said Tanaka hadn't looked quite as sharp and he's used to playing with a winter break. So he thinks it's probably a good idea to do it, which was fine. And we'll get it out of the way. We were a bit shit for 5 minutes at the start. Melia made a good save to deny Lewis Kumas. And it was one he should save, but decent save and deserves credit for it. And then we may as well get it out of the way because in the second half, there was one really good cross from the left wing for Ashley Phillips who headed wide. That's all of Stoke's contribution to this game done.
Yeah. When else did they get possession? There was that Melier pass out of defence.
Yeah. It was not a contest. Stoke are really bad. I did say in our preview of this game that a lot of Stokes fans, from what I'd read, wanted rid of Pelak. I get it now. Like they had, I looked it up. They had 53% of their passes were successful. They only completed 100 and odd, but they also weren't like lumping it up to a big man. There was no plan whatsoever from their point of view. And Leeds just played good, fair to good, maybe a little bit better than that.
Yeah.
Given the conditions and everything.
Similar to Oxford, really. We didn't need to be better than that. We were comfortably the best. If you had concerns about Ampadu's fitness levels stepping up into midfield, you needn't have worried. He didn't have to do a right lot.
No, he didn't have to do a right lot, but he also did look like Ampadu again. It looked like those couple of sub appearances got the real lustiness out of him. But that 10 minutes, was that the Middlesbrough game where he came on at right back for the last 10 minutes?
Yeah.
And he really did look really rusty. Those couple of sub appearances appear to have knocked that out of him. But yeah, Leeds were just miles better than them, all over them. Aronson forced a good save early on with a shot from edge at box. And he had sort of a mirror image shot on his left foot right at the end, which was also saved by Johansson. The first properly big chance, though, was Jayden Bogle drove forward, played in Dan James down the right, cross for Manor Solomon at the back post. And he just seemed to not sort his feet out at all and just shin it a mile wide.
Yeah, it was one of those. I think by the time he's getting his feet sorted for it, he's too close to it, isn't he, or too on top of it to get his feet right, and it probably needs to be a stooping header. But it was a disappointing miss, but fortunately there were other chances.
Yeah, fortunately it didn't matter that much because I don't remember exactly when that chance was, but about 40 minutes in, Leeds are just passing the ball around in the middle, and Joe Rothwell picks out a really good ball into Brendan Aronson, who, this is probably the most number 10 thing that he's done all season. He just dropped and got properly in between the lines, bogged into his feet from Rothwell and just takes one touch and plays Joel Piroe straight through. It was really good from Aronson. Piroe tries to go round Johansson when he probably should have just hit it. But Johansson's a good keeper, man, just divert it away. Piroe turns, and by the sounds of it, everyone in the world is screaming at him to pull it back. And on his weak foot, he just absolutely batters it into the near top corner and off the bar. And it looked a good finish in real time. And then you saw the replay and realised, oh, that's an even better finish than I thought it was. It was an outstanding finish, really.
It's so close to the corner as well, where he's got that. Like you say, it's not just in off the underside of the bar. It's inches off the post as well. So yeah, he squeezed it right in there. There was no stopping it. It was a very confident finish.
Yeah, one of them that's a bit of a shame for the stats, for the stats people, because Brendan Aronson doesn't get that assist, and he absolutely deserves one. He's played a really well weighted through ball that's put the striker clean for one goal, and then the striker has scored. Like it feels it's one of the holes in stats.
Well, he'll have to work harder on that one, Brendan, then, won't he?
Yeah,
he'll have to work. He'll have to work on Joel Piroe not having the goalkeeper to reclaim it off him.
Yeah. But yeah, so it was a well-timed goal because you go in at 0-0, and and even though we've been the better side and everything, it's a disappointing half. The second it's 1-0, everyone's happy again. As you would expect, no changes for a while from Leeds, but on this occasion it was probably right. Piroe could have had a second early in the second half from a Rothwell corner, but he headed it wide. I bet I always use this as the phrase, he will think he should have done better.
Yeah,
he should have hit the target at least.
He's got hitting the target with that header.
Yeah. Luckily, it didn't actually it wasn't too long afterwards because it was only about the hour mark that we made it to Jayden Bogle with that sort of clipped ball over the top that he's done for Dan James a few times now. James gets away and he loops the crossover with a bouncing ball, and Piroe has what's the head equivalent of a tap-in?
Nod?
Yeah, nod, probably. Yeah, a very simple task to head it home. Good assist from Dan James because he had a similar bouncing ball in the first half when I think it was Aronson was in acres at the far post and he made a mess of it. So this was a really good ball. Piroe didn't have to move. And at 2-0 the game, much like it is with a lot of Leeds games lately, that was the game done.
Yeah, I looked at that stuff. One of the things I think I'm always critical of teams when you watch someone that's set up and not that I don't understand the tactics. I like Heckingbottom at Leeds. I had no idea what their plan was. They had two up front at times. Kumas was there, but I don't know what his purpose was.
He had that chance early on, and I can't think of another thing that he did.
They had three central defenders, but it seemed easy enough to play through. Like Nat Phillips was stepping up a few times, and probably.
I will just say we are playing Derby next, so I know why that happened.
My bad.
Ashley Phillips.
Ash Phillips, yeah.
Nat Phillips is Sunday.
Yeah, my bad. But yeah, Bogle and James, that partnership worked so well throughout this game of just the variety of balls for Dan James to run onto. And I'm sure there was some even some brilliant ones that we might not have seen, but
yeah, in the first half, especially. I mean, there was a couple of times where Dan James got in down the right-hand side, and I'm not sure what happened. So I'm just going to assume it was a good ball from Bogle. I looked it up for this one because I had more than 10 minutes before we started. And the XG per FBref was 0.5 to 1.9, so 2-0 is pretty much right. You've already brought it up. That was the next thing I was going to say. Sky gave Piroe man at match because he scored twice, and that's what happens on Sky. But I thought Bogle was best player on pitch by a mile.
Yeah, I would reckon so. I mean, I looked at that and thought it's probably him or James, because I thought between the two of them, they're probably at the best I've seen them, kind of at full tilt for the two of them. Probably Bogle edges it, because I think Dan James he had a few balls that he probably wish he could have had another go at, that he should have done a bit better with. But like I say, again, Kumas was nominally their left winger, but you didn't see him within half a mile of Jaden Bogle half the time. Admittedly, Jaden Bogle absolutely flattened him with a strike to the stomach.
Oh, was it Kumas that hit? I do
believe
remember.
So,
yeah. No, I thought the main thing that I thought Bogle gave was one, like his passing was very good. He was always in the right areas, but when he got the ball, he just drove us forward. I mean, that shot that he had from the edge of the box, it was quite well saved. Just him driving forward into space. That's what sets up that Solomon chance. He obviously puts James in for the second goal. He was just constantly at it. And yeah, I just thought throughout the game he was brilliant. And it was one of the games where you got to see like a lot of his just technical ability on the ball. Like, I reckon there's a pretty good argument that he is more comfortable receiving the ball in tight areas than some of our better attacking players. And that's not a knock on those attacking players. I just think Bogle's really good at it.
At one moment, I think entirely summed the game up. It was, Bogle was kind of pressed on probably about halfway an hour half, back to goal, and holds the ball up well, drops it back. And then I don't know if it's Kumas or Gooch, but Bogle just strolls 7 yards further forward and is just left alone. Ball goes inside, back out to Bogle, and all of a sudden he has acres of space to roam into.
Yeah.
They just didn't seem to have a plan for when they had the ball. They didn't seem to have a plan as to how to deal with us. I'm not surprised the Stoke fans are as upset as they are, because they looked at. I mean, the stats I've got here on Google show. What was it I've got here? Stoke 202 passes to our 672.
Yeah, I think that's the attempted numbers, I believe, because their completed was 100. Their completed was 100 and something.
Jesus. And then possession 23% to 77.
Yeah, and that's at home. And I know, like, they can come into a game expecting us to be better than them, and we should be, and are. But at home, you do want to see. You want to see some form of actual effort, don't you? And you just didn't see anything out of them.
Like if you looked at those numbers, you'd go like, "Oh, well, were we at least difficult to play through?" Oh God, no.
Yeah.
That
puts them 19th. They're 3 points above Hull in 22nd. And like Oxford are 1 point behind them, but they have got. Admittedly, teams down there, games in hand don't matter as much because you lose a lot. But Oxford have got a game in hand on them. Portsmouth are 2 points behind them, but they've got 2 games in hand on them. Cardiff and Plymouth have games in hand. I think Plymouth are knackered. They're awful. But from the bits I've seen of Hull, I think Hull are better than them. And based on, even though the score was higher, I thought Oxford United looked better than them. And under the first game under his name Gary Rowett, they won 3-2, but they were 3-0 up and cruising, and it started to go away a bit. So like, I would not be at all shocked if Stoke go down if they stick with this manager for too long.
I mean, at this point, it's now becoming unsustainable.
Yeah. That's like 9 without a win or something there.
Yeah. I'm just looking at their fixtures now, yeah. We said before, they're only a couple of games off no win in 2 months.
Yeah.
And in there, like, just going through the games since their last win, in terms of teams around them, drew with QPR, drew with Preston, lost to Luton, drew with Cardiff, lost to Sheff Wednesday. They're not even getting anything off teams like that are just above them.
Yeah, I mean, Sheff Wednesday have picked up a bit now, but the rest of them are really not great results. But at the other end, which is more important, Leeds returned to the top because Burnley won 2-0 at Sheffield United. I haven't even watched the highlights of it. Apparently, it was not a great game by all accounts. And Sunderland conceded a late equaliser as well. So in the top four, which seems to have separated out a little bit, Sunderland, and obviously everyone's played 23, so halfway through the season, Sunderland have got 44 points, Burnley 47, us and Sheffield United 48. We've also got a plus 28 goal difference in 23 games, which is pretty good going.
Like it's
halfway point.
I think it's about.
Go for it, mate.
I was going to say, it's kind of about time. I think that a few teams started to pull away a little bit, and you're now starting to see a lot. Like as I look at it on Google, the draws are sort of marked out by the grey, and you're seeing a lot less draws among sort of the top 5, top 6 teams. As you said, I think now you're looking at a group of teams that are actually starting to pull it together a bit.
Yeah. So it's the halfway point. Obviously, we at the start of the season we were all pretty confident of going up, even with the usual bits of Leeds pessimism. But we did all predict. We may have even all had us winning the league, or at least in the top 2. And then we lost a few players, and we got a bit less confident. But then we did have a good end to the window. And basically, based on the performances, you have to be fairly confident. Compared to the start of the season where you thought we were going up, are you now more secure in the thought that we're going up?
I think I had us down a second.
I don't know why I'm trying to guess.
Champions Luton in my mind.
I had Luton and Leeds going up, as did you, as did Alex. Connie and Benny had us winning the league. Although I think that then with the Leeds specific predictions, where I always change it slightly, like the Leeds finishing position prediction that we always do, you had second, everyone else had first.
Pessimist me.
Yeah.
Please don't ask me about any of my other predictions. They're not looking great.
Yeah.
I think I'm probably about the same as I was at that point, to be fair. Like I look and just think we've got a very good squad. I can't see it happening, but if someone told me we were going to sign another number 10, I'd be all right with it. But I don't see it happening. I don't see any major signings happening unless something very bizarre takes place.
I'm sort of feeling the same way, but I don't think it will happen. There's still this voice in my head that keeps going, James McAtee is playing in the under-21s at Man City. And now that they've got this massive injury crisis and playing shite, he's crept onto the bench. They still didn't bring him on, though. And I do keep looking at him going, that seems like something that might actually be doable in January. You'd probably have to have a buyback clause and stuff. But I doubt that's going to happen. If we keep playing like this, with the various injuries and the fact that he doesn't seem to acknowledge Isaac Schmidt's existence much, still maybe a left back.
I think it very much will come down to. I can see kind of based on our model of signing players at the moment, who has 6 months left on their contract that would be worth a shout.
There is also the one that we do have to mention. We will probably ring up Emi Buendia again, just in case. He's not playing.
A late drunken phone call.
Come on. It'll be fun.
The league. Come on. Give me a laugh.
Yeah.
What do you want to play the Champions League for?
Yeah.
You want to be? there.
What do you want to sit on the bench in the Champions League for? You can come.
Yeah.
We've got a trip to Plymouth. It's basically Europe. I will say that for as much as I am now, I'm more confident than I was in pre-season. I am not as confident as the bookies. This is without shopping around to see what the price. I've just opened Sky Bet because it was the first one. So Leeds are 2-5 to win the league. Leeds are 1-16 to get promoted. 1-16. That's a lot of numbers after 1 to. Now that's the difference. Yeah, I am pretty confident. I'm not 1-16 confident. I mean, they're not offering not to be promoted. They are offering to make the playoffs, which is 13-2. So if you were a pessimist, that's probably where your 20 quid goes, because I can't. Even the most pessimistic version of events I can come up with doesn't have us outside the playoffs.
Yeah, it's already looking like it would take some going for that.
Yeah, and famously, Leeds are capable of doing things like that.
We are very good second half of the season in the Championship.
Well, I mean, last season we were brilliant in the second half of the Championship up until it really mattered.
I would describe that as we were great in the third quarter of the Championship.
Fair enough. Yeah.
The fourth quarter was disastrous. Yeah. But then again, so were Leicester and Southampton, and look where that got them.
Yeah.
Getting battered each week, so
yay! I listened to a bit of the match ball when I got back from the pub last night, and I think I dropped asleep while it was on because I had been in the pub for several hours. But I believe the current bottom three in the Premier League are the 3 promoted teams, which seems to be becoming more and more of a thing. So
yeah.
So hopefully we go up, and hopefully we can buck that trend, but it'll be difficult if we do. We then, obviously, a quick turnaround, Sunday, 29th, at the, not as stupid as 8 p.m. on Boxing Day, but still pretty stupid kickoff time of 5:45. Away at Derby. We played them at home on the 7th of December, 1-2-0, unlikely goal scorers of Joe Roden and Max Verber. So Roden was from a corner, Verber ball across, and he ghosted into the penalty area with an outstanding, and Verber's striker's instinct kicked in to finish from close range. In that game, Derby just sat deep, 5-4-1. They only created 0.2 XG. And that includes when they're supposedly chasing the game at 2-0 down. So Leeds just coasted through the second half. By the looks of it, they have basically 2 ways of playing. They played a back 5 against Burnley as well, which they drew, and away at Luton, which they lost 2-1, but by all accounts, they shouldn't have. They actually were the better team in that, and I think Luton's goals were both massive deflections. But they've played 4-2-3-1 against Portsmouth, where they won 4-0, and 4-2-3-1 against West Brom yesterday, where they won 2-1. So with them being at home, I know that as I was just saying about Stoke, you want to see some sort of effort at home. I think that they will go 4-2-3-1 to not have a go at us instead of in terms of they'll really go for it, but they'll want to have some form of attacking threat.
Yeah. I mean, they beat West Brom. West Brom didn't get the new caretaker manager bounce.
No. I mean, I knew that Corberan was going to end up going somewhere. I wasn't expecting Valencia, but I also didn't realise that Corberan was in Valencia's academy as a kid.
Yeah, good luck to him. He deserves it. I think he's done pretty well. I mean, yeah, like you say, there's not a lot of pointers going through their team again. I'm just having a look through in terms of goal scorers.
Yeah. I've just got their team from the win yesterday, which you would think it'd be with them winning. Unless someone's injured, it'll be a similar team. Jerry Yates up front, the 3 behind of Caden Jackson, Marcus Harness, and Nathaniel Mendez-Lang. That's a lot of, they're all right. And it sort of goes through the whole thing. That Zetterstrom in goal made one good save from Piroe in the last game, but didn't really see much else. It looks like they've started playing Callum Elder at left back instead of Craig Forsyth, which I don't know much about Callum Elder, but I'm assuming he's got more legs than Craig Forsyth at this point. And Curtis Nelson and Nat Phillips at the back. That's not a lot. There's definitely space to run in behind them. And it just takes one pass because they're not quick enough to really track. There's nothing I'm looking at in this that I'm like particularly scared of at all.
No, like I think what are they, 14th? They are properly mid-table with their 0 goal difference.
Yeah, they're doing mid-table properly.
Exactly. None of this Spurs bollocks.
Well, I'm going to say mid-table properly with 7 wins and 10 defeats.
Yeah, I think we will. I mean, I think we'll win. I don't think a lot to them. They don't offer a whole lot. Their top scorer in the league has 4.
Yeah. Is that Yates?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought it would be. The more interesting thing, I suppose, then is Leeds. From Farke's press conference, Verba still isn't training due to knee pain in the knee that he had operated on. So
honestly, I just thought you were going to say knee pain in the knee.
But... Yeah. No, he was specific about which one this time, and he said Byram and
his knee.
Yeah, and he said Byram and Ampadu are to be assessed, which is unsurprising. Byram is Byram, and Ampadu is only just back.
I imagine Sam Byram is towed back from away games in an ice bath.
Yeah, do you reckon he's like Kurt Angle after a big match in TNA?
Yeah, just cover that man in ice and just hopefully without the pills.
Yeah, Perk Byram. Nice reference for 4 people there. So I reckon he will make a couple of changes because he intimated he was going to rotate a bit. The ones I've got down here is that if Byram's fit, then I think that the back 4 stays the same. But I think Tanaka will come back in for Ampadu because I don't think he'll want Ampadu to start all of these games so close together. So I think we'll get Tanaka back in for Ampadu on this one, and then Ampadu will play on New Year's Day. And I think he'll bring Nonto back in for Solomon. Because even though Solomon was absolutely fine against Stoke, he was the least effective of our front 4.
Yeah.
And to start a game. So
I mean, I can see him going either way with I suppose at this point you have 3 players to choose from for that position. Because I think Dan James stays in because I think he, again, had a very good game. But you've got Ramazani there, you've got Nonto, and you've got Solomon. I think it makes all the sense in the world for Solomon to drop out for this one, given his injury track record as well.
You don't want to push him too hard.
Like you say, did absolutely fine yesterday. With those 3 options, there's not many games where, and to be honest, there's not one of them yet that I think and I think Ramazani probably would be top of the list at this point, but the injuries have kind of cut back on this. But there's not one of them that I specifically look at the moment and say you save him for the big games.
No.
But yeah, I would expect Ramazani or Nonto to start this. As to which one, Joel Piroe, aren't there?
Yeah, I think it will be Nonto. I'd actually be more interested to see it be Ramazani just because he hasn't started one since the injury, but I think it'll be Nonto. And if Byram is struggling, I mean, it would be nice to see Schmidt start again, but you can't say it, can you? So I assume he's just going to wrap Byram in cotton wool and Byram's going to play.
Ampadu to centre-back, Pascal Strapp to left-back, Isaac Schmidt does not exist.
If that happens, if Ampadu plays left centre-back and Strapp goes to left-back, if Isaac Schmidt doesn't immediately put in a transfer request, I'll judge him.
No, Farke's brought his self-esteem that far down. He doesn't have it in him to put the request in at this point.
Yeah, I will say, I know that we've been joking about this Isaac Schmidt thing for a while, but why the fuck did Schmidt not come on for Byram until the 91st minute?
At no point were we
give
looking
him
going,
20 minutes.
I would understand it if we were under the cosh a bit and Byron was having a great game. But Sam Byron didn't have a particularly lot to do, was involved in a fairly nasty challenge at one point. And you'd have thought after the second goal goes in, yeah, give Schmidt 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So, Sam Byron doesn't need to be playing 90 minutes of this game.
Yeah, I suppose the reason to not bring Schmidt on till with a couple of minutes left, or to not bring him on at all, is if he was planning on starting him against Derby. So the one thing that makes that lack of substitution okay is if he starts him against Derby. But I'll be very surprised if he does.
It starts at right back.
Yeah, and obviously, I thought that there'd be a lot of change with this over this run of games, but that game, last night was probably about the best Aronson and Piroe have worked away from home as a pair. So I can't see him changing that. And Aronson's seems to be one of them players who's fit enough that you don't particularly need to rest him much. And Piroe isn't going to run himself into the ground because he doesn't. So he should be just as fit as he was.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I would laugh my little head off if he then went, yeah, Joseph.
Well, he might.
Why? He's just scored. Why now?
Yeah, I'm okay with it, but what would it be this time? Unless he just thinks, I don't know, he'll bully Curtis Nelson a bit more. I've had the predictions in, and it makes it very easy because Connie and Alex and Benny have got us winning 3-0.
It's away from home, 2-0.
Was that 2-1?
2-0.
2-0 win. I don't think that broke up on the feed. I think my computer just went a bit weird. I'm going to go Doomsayer. Leeds find a way. We'll lose 2-1. There is no logical reason.
I can't believe you've gone defeat.
There is no logical reason. It's just the sort of thing that we do. We should win this. We're miles better than them. We're in really good form. They're fine. They won the last game. This is just one of these games over Christmas. We're going to do something stupid. The funniest one is if it's Harrogate. But we always do.
And Isaac Schmidt won't start that one either.
No, that's what's going to happen. Schmidt is going to start against Derby. And we're going to lose 2-1 just out of nowhere. They're going to have 2 shots. And both of them are going to come down our right-hand side, and Schmidt is going to get the blame because he played this one. It's going to be, although some of it was actually his fault, it's going to be Gruev at Stoke again.
At least we did away with that hoodoo. You know, we changed a successful midfield partnership on a midweek game at Stoke, and it worked out totally fine.
Yeah, I thought that Ampadu was really good. I thought Rothwell was tidy enough. But there was no one who you could pick out as not being up to it, was there? That was the good thing.
Yeah, it was
just a solid performance.
Yeah, it would be really nice just to see that carried over and to win back-to-back away games.
Yeah. I mean, if we can win that, go into the new year top of the league, that'd be a really nice position to be in. But that will do us for episode 295 of the Mike Lights podcast. Game's Sunday, and then we'll play again New Year's Day, don't we?
Yep.
So yeah. So what are you more likely for, the 30th or New Year's Eve?
I should be good for either, to be fair.
All right, cool. I reckon I'm going to take a guess then that we're back on New Year's Eve, but no one will be watching live because it'll probably be early afternoon because I'm off work that day. So yeah, I've been Jack. Have a good one.
I've been Kate. Damn it, he's done it again. He's served it on me.
I love doing that every now and then because you just watch your brain stop working for a second.
He's done me. I think
I think
KC.
that. See
I
ya.
think. I think K. See ya.